Hi, I'm Daniel, and this is the Samsung Wave, Samsung's first Bada phone. So Bada is this brand new smartphone operating system that Samsung came up with on their own, and like I mentioned, this is their first device. We took a quite exclusive look at it a few months ago, just before it was launched, but now this is the retail unit that's finally on sale in Singapore already. So because this is such a new platform, I'm going to be going through some of the basics of the software itself to give you a feel and a look at what this thing is actually capable of. But before we go there, let's just take a quick look at the design of the phone itself. So it still has this beautiful 3.3-inch Super AMOLED display, which you can see here. It's very nice colors, and the colors just kind of pop out, and the blacks are really black. So that's one of the cool things about Super AMOLED. And so at the front here, you actually have a front-facing camera. You have proximity sensor right here. On the top here, you have a 3.55mm headphone jack. You have the loudspeakers over here, as well as a micro USB port. These have become standard in smartphones today. On the side here, you actually have this is the lock and unlock button, and over here you have the camera shutter button. It's a two-layer button, so you push it down lightly for autofocus. The back of the phone is actually metal, which is actually very nice. It's a brushed metal, and it feels very nice, and it doesn't attract fingerprints, unlike a lot of the glossy designs that you usually see. At the back here, you have a 5.0 megapixel camera with autofocus, as well as an LED flash. Okay, so over here you have a lanyard loop. You have the volume control buttons, and for the phone's main controls are actually very simple. You have a home button, a call button, and a hang up button. So let's say compared with something like, say, an iPhone, for example. An iPhone basically only has one button that you need to navigate the entire phone, which is the home button. So likewise, for this particular phone, it has one home button. These two buttons, this one basically gives a shortcut to the phone application, while this one actually quits whatever existing applications and goes to the standby screen. Alright, so you have the microphone right over here. Okay, so let's take a very quick look at the software. Okay, so this is the same thing that you saw. Basically, to unlock the screen, just push this button once and then swipe the screen off. As you notice, it's actually very similar to the new Android phones from Samsung as well, because what they've done is that they've created this user interface called TouchWiz user interface, which the Samsung Bada is actually based on. And you'll notice that the way the user interface works is completely consistent with, regardless of the platform which TouchWiz UI is actually running from, which is actually quite a smart thing. So over here you see a widget screen, and basically you can have up to, over here you have about 6 pages, and you can jump between the pages, and basically you can hit the widget button and you can drag widgets in and out. The strange thing that I've actually discovered is that you can't have, I haven't been able to get more than one widget to actually fit on the screen itself. So for example, if I want to put the network info and I attempt to put it, you see that the widgets actually, the size of the widgets, it's kind of strange. It's usually not as wide as the entire screen itself, yet you won't be able to fit more than one widget on a single screen. So we thought that is actually kind of strange. So one widget per screen, yet the widget doesn't actually fill the entire screen itself. So you have actually tons of widgets available on the phone itself, including some from your service provider. In this case, the Samsung Wave is an exclusive with Singtel right now. Okay, so this is the widget screen. So most of the widgets are actually kind of standard. You'll actually find more widgets as time passes, as developers create more widgets. So you have Twitter kind of stuff, you have Google shortcuts, and web browser shortcuts, currency exchange, and things like that. Alright. And then on the top of the phone itself is this notification system, and which gives you a shortcut to turn Wi-Fi on and off, turn Bluetooth on and off, even turn on the silent mode straight from here, which is very cool. And then of course you have your notifications to missed calls, SMS, and all that. And this is available from almost any part of the phone, as long as you can see the top bar. You can actually pull this notification bar down. And then of course at the bottom you have 3 shortcuts. So if you hit the home button, you get to the main menu, and then basically, this is actually a side-scrolling, just like you would see on the Samsung Galaxies. This is TouchWiz UI 3. The applications are on a side-scrolling screen. You can see that it's actually quite smooth, and you can actually customize the buttons itself. So you can actually shift items even from the bottom menu up here, and then you can maybe swap something that's more important, and whatever you put down here will actually appear on the standby widget screen as well. And of course you can actually just shift things around, leave spaces, and dedicate screens specifically to whatever application that you want it to go. And likewise, you can jump from screen 1 to screen 3 just by tapping on the number, which is kind of useful. So you can dedicate certain buttons to certain numbers to a particular type of application that you will actually want to use. And when you go to the last screen, you can actually jump back to the first screen as well, which I think is quite a useful feature. So now let's take a look at the email client, and it's actually a very simple email client. It's nothing much different from what you would actually expect. So I'm just covering my email address right here. And the strange thing though is that if you notice that it says here subject only, by default the email client will only download the subject, and you actually need to go into the email itself, and then actually have to go down to the menu and get it to retrieve the email. Before you will actually be able to see the contents of the email itself, which I think is kind of it's a little bit old school. You don't find this in smartphones anymore. So I just thought that was a little strange, and it takes a while to get to retrieve the email as well. So that's one thing that you might want to take note. The good thing, of course, is that you download less data. But if you live in a country like Singapore, data is just really cheap. So you shouldn't actually have to do this kind of thing just to be able to see your email. But let's take this opportunity to actually take a look at the keyboard. Okay, so let's say sender. Alright, so this is the keyboard, and you notice it's very familiar looking. It's very similar to most of the on-screen smartphone keyboards you see today. Alright, and actually, if you notice, it's very similar to the iPhone's keyboard itself. I'm not saying this because I'm biased towards the iPhone, but this is the fact that it actually is very identical to the iPhone's keyboard, down to the fact that there are no number keys on the phone itself, right? And you actually have to go to this particular a special screen to get to the number keys, and then after that, hit a different keys to actually go to characters. So that is one of the things that you might want to be interested to know about. And we'll just take a look at if actually some of the things are actually similar. So if I type the word test, so that's actually predictive. You can turn the predictive text on and off, through the settings. And in order to get a period, just basically press and hold the spacebar, and then you get a period. You can actually press and hold, and then move your finger up to another one to push the characters. So in this sense that you can actually kind of get a shortcut. But because of this little delay, your typing will actually get interrupted once in a while whenever you want to actually type a character. So you can actually see right here that when you actually hit the shift key, the characters will actually show you whether is it shift or not. Okay, and of course you can have multiple languages as well. And of course you will definitely have a portrait version of the keyboard, and the portrait keyboard is actually pretty much the same as the landscape one, except that the buttons are larger. Okay, so that is the email client. The next thing that's very important to smartphone users would actually be the web browser. So let's take a look at the web browser right now, and the web browser is right here. Okay, and the web browser is actually, it's not too bad. It renders things quite well. As you can see, this is the Gear65.org website. You notice there's no flash, so that is one thing that you want to take note of. And there is a multi-touch, so you can actually pinch to zoom in and out. The other thing about this is that you have to hit this button to actually open up the menus, and you can actually have multiple screens. So you can actually hit, let's say for example this one. This is, by the way, in case anybody is interested, this is the HTML5. This is actually the HTML5 scores for this particular web browser. And of course you can take a look at, say, Google right here. Okay, and we can tell that it's actually able to identify itself whether is it a mobile design web page. In this case, you can't actually zoom in the website when it's actually designed specifically for mobile, whereas when you come to a full-scale website like this, you can actually start zooming and things like that. So there's also copy and pasting and selecting of text. So basically just press and hold, and then after that you can actually just pull the dots for you to select which are the things that you want to actually be able to see. And of course there's this very interesting translate button which sends you to translate.google.com immediately. Alright, so that is actually the web browser. And then of course the other thing that some people might be interested in is actually the music player. So it comes with the music player itself, supports micro SD cards. Alright, and then so it's a normal music player, nothing special. And likewise, if you actually lock the screen itself, and then when you try and unlock, come here, you can actually, without having to unlock the entire phone, you can actually have access to the music player's controls. Alright. Of course, the other feature that you guys will be interested to find out about is the camera. Right, so the camera software is actually pretty standard, just as it would be in most Samsung phones today. You know, you see the very familiar layout of the menus. You got the different focus modes here. You got autofocus, macro, as well as face detection. You have different scenes, and you can actually have almost 3 pages worth of scenes. And of course, there's a video camera mode as well, and it's capable of actually taking up to 720p HD, as you can see right here, 720p HD video. So you know, taking pictures using the camera shutter button, just press and hold to focus, and then after that, just take a picture. Here's the other interesting thing. Because the Samsung Bada is actually a proper smartphone operating system, they actually have a software development kit for developers to actually make applications. So you can actually you know, buy applications from the Samsung store itself, and actually some pretty good applications right now are available. So if I can actually show you right now, right here, Need for Speed Shift from Electronic Arts, as well as Asphalt 5 from Gameloft, they're actually available for free right now, and they're actually not too bad. If you take a look right here, I'm just going to launch Need for Speed Shift right now. And for those of you who are actually familiar with the Need for Speed Shift for the iPhone as well as the Palm Web OS, you'll notice that the software is actually, this game right here is completely identical to those versions. So in other words, this is actually, the phone is actually capable of doing full 3D. There is accelerometer support as well. So, you know, expect to find more interesting games, especially when Samsung gets a bit more aggressive at attracting developers, especially big name developers such as Electronic Arts and Gameloft. So this is one of the interesting things about that you might want to take note of on the Samsung Bada operating system. The other thing, of course, is that this operating system, Samsung Bada, is actually capable of multitasking. So basically, if you press and hold the home button, you actually come to this multitasking screen, and you can quickly jump between applications. So in this case, you have you know, the web browser. You can jump to you know, the Samsung App Store. All right. And you can actually notice that they are actually able to show you more than one screen that is running in the background right now. Go to the music player. You can also quit applications just by hitting the minus key there. And so let's say. But one very strange thing though is that you know, if you notice among the screens, the widget is actually part of this one of the applications. So let's say, for example, at the end of the day, you want to clear the memory. When you hit End All Applications, alright, they say that all widgets and applications will be ended as well. So the strange thing that is that the widgets are actually considered within as an application as well, which is kind of annoying because you don't ever want to actually quit your widget. So if I actually click yes right now, and then if I go to the home screen, you'll notice that all the widgets which I placed on screen earlier have all disappeared. So the problem with that is that if you put in quite a bit of effort to arrange your widgets nicely, 6 screens worth of widgets, or just 6 widgets, because as I mentioned earlier, I couldn't actually fit more than 1 widget per screen. When you end all applications, you will have to rearrange and reinsert all the widgets all over again, which I thought was kind of strange. So that is there are some pros and cons with multitasking, so just be careful of that end all button. I think it will be much better if you actually manually quit the applications one by one. So that is the Samsung Wave. Overall, it's actually quite a good phone. The performance is actually, as you can see just now, it's actually quite smooth. And you know, you can go check it out in your stores right now. It's definitely quite a lot of potential for a brand new operating system as it is today. So that's it. If you want to check out more videos, www.tech65.org. That is our address. I'm Daniel. We'll see you guys soon. Goodbye.